The Visitor. Outside. The night was draped in an eerie silence as I sat in my dimly lit living room, engrossed in a book. The sound of pages turning was occasionally interrupted by the distant hoot of an owl. It was one of those nights when every creak and rustle seemed magnified, sending a chill down my spine. As I glanced up from my book, I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye, a flicker of motion beyond the window. I froze, my heart skipping a beat. Peering through the glass, I saw a figure standing just beyond the reach of the porch light. My breath caught in my throat. The figure was obscured by shadows, but I could make out a silhouette, a tall, slender shape, unnaturally still against the backdrop of night. Panic surged through me as I realized someone was watching me from outside. I considered calling the police, but what if it was just a passerby? Instead, I grabbed my phone and dialed a friend. Emma lived nearby, and I knew she wouldn't mind coming over. "Hey, Emma, it's me," I whispered urgently when she answered. "I think someone's outside my house. Can you come over?" Emma didn't hesitate. "On my way," she replied. Relieved, I kept my eyes fixed on the shadowy figure while waiting for Emma to arrive. Time stretched like an eternity as I watched the mysterious presence standing motionless, its gaze seemingly fixed on me. Minutes later, headlights illuminated the driveway as Emma's car pulled up. I rushed to the door, eager to have company and confront whoever was lurking outside. Emma stepped out of her car, concern etched on her face. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice low. I led her into the living room where we both peered cautiously through the window. To my horror, the figure was gone. "I swear someone was there," I muttered, my hands trembling. Emma frowned, glancing around the darkened yard. "Let's check outside," she suggested. We grabbed flashlights and cautiously stepped onto the porch. The night was eerily quiet now, devoid of any sign of the mysterious stalker. "Maybe it was just a prankster," Emma suggested, trying to calm my nerves. But I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. We circled the house, checking every corner and shadow, but found nothing out of the ordinary. Reluctantly, Emma decided to stay with me for the night, reassuring me that everything would be okay. As we settled back inside, the sense of unease lingered. I couldn't concentrate on anything other than the unsettling encounter. Who could have been standing outside my window, and why were they watching me? Hours passed with nervous glances towards the window. Finally, exhaustion took over, and I drifted into a fitful sleep. The next morning, Emma left for work, urging me to stay safe and call if anything else happened. I assured her I would, though part of me hoped the incident was just a bizarre, one-time occurrence. But the sense of foreboding persisted. I became hyper-aware of my surroundings, jumping at every sound and shadow. Days turned into nights, and the feeling of being watched never truly left me. One evening, as I prepared for bed, I heard a soft tapping against the window. My heart skipped a beat, and I slowly approached, my hand trembling as I drew back the curtain. There, standing outside, was the figure once again. A shadowy presence, unnervingly familiar. This time, however, it seemed closer, more intent. I backed away, my mind racing with fear. How had this stalker found me again? What did they want? Without thinking, I dialed the police, my voice shaking as I explained the situation. Officers arrived swiftly, but by the time they searched the yard, the stalker had vanished once more. Days turned into weeks, and the police investigation yielded no leads. I lived in a state of constant fear, always looking over my shoulder, unable to escape the haunting presence that seemed to lurk just beyond reach. One night, Unable to bear the torment any longer, I decided to confront the stalker. I armed myself with courage and stepped outside, determined to unmask this shadowy figure once and for all. But as I rounded the corner of my house, my blood ran cold. Standing before me was not a stranger, but a face from my past, a figure I had never expected to see again. "Sarah," he whispered, his voice a chilling echo from years ago. It was my ex-boyfriend, Mark, someone I had tried to forget, someone who had once promised to love and protect me but had become a nightmare instead. I stood frozen, memories flooding back, late-night arguments, possessive behavior, and threats that had driven us apart. Mark's eyes bore into mine, filled with a twisted mix of obsession and longing. "I never stopped thinking about you," he murmured, his tone unsettling. Terror seized me as I realized the depth of Mark's fixation. He had been the stalker all along, haunting me with a chilling persistence that defied reason. Before I could react, Mark lunged forward, his intentions clear. I stumbled back, my heart pounding with fear and adrenaline. In that moment, I knew I had to escape, to break free from this nightmare once and for all. Without looking back, I ran, fleeing into the night, determined never to let the shadows of the past catch up with me again. As I disappeared into the darkness, I knew one thing for certain. The haunting presence outside my window was not a stranger. It was a ghost from my past, a reminder of the dangers that can lurk just beyond the safety of our homes.